Welcome to the Double R Show, the podcast that features everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, directed and produced by Paul Robertson and hosted by the voice of Lincoln City, Roger Robertson.
And again, welcome to a very special program, number 52.
Yeah, that makes a full deck of cards, right? That's a full year's worth of podcasts.
Can you believe it?
Kind of can't, actually, because you multiply that by, 3+ interviews. I got 150 people that we've interviewed basically over the last year and just rolling strong.
In most of them, only one time.
Yeah, mostly individuals. Of course, we have some folks that are reoccurring. Senator Anderson's been on a couple times, Representative Gomberg and Dr. Ogden.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And Dr. Ogden today will introduce us to the new Chief Operating Officer of Samaritan North Lincoln Hospital. And we're going to dwell into 50 years ago and Chsra.
Yeah, it's another big year celebration, 50 this time, for the Cascade Head Scenic Research Area, which turns 50 this year, and there's a big celebration, and we're going to hear from Frank Boyden about all of that.
And at the conclusion of the program, we will announce a winner.
Yeah, so the big winner for the last episode, and also some gratitude to share with for all of our Double R Show Donut Club members.
Oh, coming at you in just 60 seconds.
Turn up the heat. The Commodores, live. A musical experience you won't forget. The Commodores. Friday, June 21st, Chinook Winds Casino Resort as part of the Chinook Winds 29th anniversary celebration. 70 million albums sold. 7 number 1 hits. The Grammy Award-winning Commodores. Friday, June 21st, Chinook Winds Casino Resort as part of the Chinook Winds 29th anniversary celebration. All their classic hits in one night. Reserved seats on sale now at ChinookWinds.com. By phone at 1-888-MAIN-ACT or at the Chinook Winds box office. Don't miss the Commodores live in concert. Chinook Winds, where concerts are better at the beach.
The word is Chsra, Cascade Head Scenic Research Area. Started 50 years ago. With us is Frank Boyden. And Frank, you were there when this all got underway.
Yeah, I was. I was very fortunate. I think that you only have a few times in your life when you're somewhere and can be a part of something which then goes on for so long in such a rich and really wonderful way.
Why? Why did it start, Frank?
Well, it was pretty simple, really. The idea of it was very simple. There was a man named Malcolm Montague, and he had grown up here as a kid, and his parents had a place out along the river, out towards the mouth of the river. And as a child, he grew up here. He fished, he hiked, and he was, really good friends with with a lot of the, the farmers
Sure.
and people, the old homesteaders, the people who were still alive, like the Gentrys who owned Cascade Head. And anyway, at that time, the bureaucracy of the counties and the state were making all of the small farmers along the river and, not only in Salmon River, but up on the Nestucca and the Trask and, the Silettes. They all had to switch into, new equipment for their milk. And it was very, very expensive for them. And, they weren't making much money to begin with, and they only had a few cows. So there was developers that were coming in on all of these rivers and on all of these small farms. And, the farmers just, they had no money. Their kids, didn't want to be chained to a cow for the rest of their lives.
Right.
Television was coming in, kids off they went. And so these people who had that way of life just disappeared, basically. And they sold their properties to developers. And that's what happened along the Salmon River in the late 60s and mid to late 60s. And so Malcolm saw this, huge potential for a development along the north bank of the Salmon River. And, he was looking at 300-400 houses, and these,
Potential was limitless.
yeah, it was huge. And then Cascade Head Ranch came in. Michael Lowell started that organization, and he modeled it after Sea Ranch down in California, which was a very strongly environmental, probably the most important environmental development in the United States at that time. And he wanted to model, this development, the Cascade Head Ranch development after that. So anyway, he had very lofty goals. However, right behind Malcolm's house, they made plans to build these condominiums, and it was just too much for Malcolm. And he just thought, this is crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And so he then went out and began to enlist the help of our senators and
Got Packwood and Hatfield on board.
Right. So Jane and I had just come into the valley and had started Sitka Center, and we became very good friends with Malcolm. And he would come over all the time. We would have dinner with him. He'd come. He was a very successful lawyer in Portland, and so Malcolm began to talk about that, and we were part of that conversation. We were just kids. We didn't have any idea of how that all the politics of it. So we were just involved, with the ideas that began to spring up in Malcolm's head about starting like maybe in 70, 71. We moved here in 1970. So he decided that the estuary was probably the most important part of this program. And there hadn't been a lot of industrial manipulation of the Salmon River Estuary. Pixie land was there, and it was a real mess. And then a lot of the marshes had been diked, and so Malcolm really wanted to restore the estuary as a single estuary on the west coast of the United States, the only one.
The only one.
And so that became a major priority in what he was after. Michael Lowell had sold in 1967, I believe it was, the grasslands on Cascade Head to the Nature Conservancy. And so at that time, it was just basically word of mouth of people hike out there and have a really good time. It was really,
Not
really
as
beautiful.
known as it is today.
Yeah, now there's about 30,000 people that go out there.
Right.
And that has not helped the head, but in any case, so Malcolm had quite a close friendship with Wendell Wyatt, and he got Wendell Wyatt down, and then Hatfield and Packwood. So Jane and I got to, be involved with a lot of these just early kind of dinners and, just things like that where people were discussing how it all happened.
Frank Boyden has been our guest. How it all happened, where it started, where it is, and where it is today. We'll come back and take a second look at where it is today with Frank Boyden. More in a moment.
Bob's Beach Books in the Ocean Lake area of Lincoln City does in fact have what you'll want to read. I'm Diana Portwood, and if we happen to be out of a particular bestseller, in a day or two, we'll have it back in the store waiting for you. Bob's Beach Books, so you can join the conversation.
If you're looking for great early garden fresh produce, it's Kenny's IGA in the Bay Area of Lincoln City. 4 generations of Morgans caring for your every grocery need. All of your favorite beverages, a full deli, meat, produce, and of course, groceries.
We at La Roca are proud of our food, but don't take our word for it. Read the reviews. One person wrote, the service was friendly and efficient. Another writes, La Roca has become one of our favorites because it's authentic Mexican food.
Our guest on this podcast is Frank Boyden, and we've been talking about the beginnings of the Cascade Head Scenic Research Area 50 years ago. And Frank, you gave us some of the historical background of how this came to be. Continue with what that means today, if you will.
Yeah, I can do that, or I can try to do that. What transpired starting in in 71, 72, 73 was that there was a tremendous number of people that came together to promote this and try to figure out what kind of a designation this kind of proposal should have. And there was, Wyatt and Packwood
Hatfield was
and
involved.
Hatfield.
Yep.
They came in front of Congress, and they proposed a new designation called the Scenic Research Area, the Cascade Head Scenic Research Area, or what is known today as Chsra. They involved all sorts of scientists. They involved the Forest Service. They involved a lot of the researchers that had been working for years up on these plots up on Cascade Head. And they decided that they were going to make a federal designation, a law, and it was passed through Congress. That could never happen again, or at least under our current, situation. That's just...
It's not going to be.
It's not going to happen. One of the things that was foremost in pretty much everybody's mind was to have a place where, as the estuary was reconstructed over time, scientists came in there and began to work, trying to figure out how salt marshes worked, how tidal influxes worked, how anadromous fish worked. They tried to figure out how these marshes happened.
A lot of learning.
It was a huge learning curve, and it's still going on. And so it was just a wonderment that, from my point of view, and I think, again, through many, many people's, viewpoint, because it wasn't, really terribly well received by local populations.
Oh, no, absolutely not. There was a lot of opposition to it originally.
And so the Forest Service came in and it was mandated that they purchase, properties where they could, that they were given power of condemnation over, the estuarine lands, which never really got used. So anyway, what developed out of that has become greater and greater and greater importance to like hundreds of thousands of people that have used this, that have come together and enjoyed not only research but also educational programs that have been going on there. It became then part of a biosphere, UN Biosphere Reserve.
Yep.
And so, it stands today as something where, through people's interactions with the space, that hopefully will remain, as untouched as it is without being changed.
It's a treasure that can't be changed.
Yeah, and we are so lucky here in this area, Lincoln County, Tillamook County, to actually have something like this. I think it's really a miracle.
It still is amazing to me how forward-thinking some people were that really saved something from posterity.
Right. And all of these people got on the same train.
True. Eventually.
So it's really it's a wondrous thing. And it's 50 years old now. And so there is a big movement by many people to come together and have a celebratory, thing that's happening. And so we have been able to invite many of the scientists that were involved with, the estuary, with the hydrology, all of this, bring in the people that actually did the work on the marshes, people that, were involved with trying to enforce, the edict that was made, people from the Forest Service, people from the Biosphere Reserve, people that are just involved with, education.
Education was probably the key to the whole thing, though.
Yeah, it was a key to the whole thing, how research and education could change the way people look at the world. And I think that that is something that has happened to massive numbers of people. And I think a lot of very young people have been affected by that, and where they can see that they can step into a place that is kind of considered to be something that they'll never find again, maybe.
We may be young, but we are experienced. Hi, Adina Zeller here, and Zeller's restaurants are now a year old, but the experience in preparing and serving food goes way back generations. Zeller's Lincoln City and Rose Lodge. Come on in.
Wouldn't it be great to have all your insurance needs handled by one agency? This is Charlotte Lado with Farmers Insurance and the Insurance Store. Visit our office next to the Wildflower Grill in Lincoln City. Let us be your one stop for your personal, commercial, health, and Medicare insurance needs.
Dr. Leslie Ogden from Samaritan North Lincoln Hospital and Pacific Communities Hospital is joining us next. And you are into floats just like Lincoln City.
Haha, yes, we have a special arrangement for fundraising with floats. And so what better way to marry what happens every summer in Lincoln City? We've actually got a relationship with Explore Lincoln City and the Marie Lantham Foundation, and it's the birthday of Marie Lantham, 128 years. So they are celebrating with let's give away some money to nonprofits on the coast. And I think, wow,
here we are.
Amazing. Here we are. Let's get some money. So basically what they've done is they have hidden a bunch of different floats, and each of them has a nonprofit from the coast that is attached to it. And when you find the float, and again, these are hidden in all the same places that floats are, primarily on the beach, in all those places that people go hunt for floats in the first place. But when they find one of these floats, it will indicate that this is a special fundraising float and that they should report it, because the first float found is worth $10,000.
Say what?
Yes, $10,000 to the first nonprofit, entity that is attached to that float. And then the second one is worth $5,000, and on and on and on and on. So there's a lot of money that the Marie Lantham Foundation is giving to our coastal nonprofits.
So how did you pick the nonprofits that will be participating?
Well, the Marie Lantham folks picked it, and again are working together with Explore Lincoln City to put all of this on. But they have given us 3 floats. And so it just depends on which order they're found as to what the value of those floats ultimately will be. But we want to spend whatever money we have actually sprucing up a garden for our cancer patients outside our infusion area.
Special.
Yeah, really use that money wisely and really get some bang for our buck for our cancer patients.
Congratulations. What fun. Now, you did bring another guest with you as well. Jennifer Will, introduce Jennifer for us so we know a little bit more about her.
Yeah, Jennifer is fabulous. She is sitting right here with us. She is our new COO. Many of you may have known Virginia Riffle, who was here previously. Yes. Well, Virginia finally retired. Not that we encouraged her at all, but she retired, and we are very excited that Jennifer is here with us. She's now our COO and has done all of the turnover. And I brought her along so she could talk a little bit in her, what I call her soft, buttery voice out there to introduce herself.
Please.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Leslie. So again, I am Jennifer Will, and just a little bit about me. So I have worked with Samaritan for 6 years this month, so maybe I'll get an anniversary gift.
Maybe a glass float.
Yeah, maybe I'll get a float, yeah. So I've been with Samaritan for 6 years, and I started actually in Newport. So I started there as the director of operations for specialty clinics and primary care, and quickly moved into an AVP role for the coast. So that was AVP, Associate Vice President of Clinics. And so I had Waldport to Lincoln City territory. And then we had this COVID event. I think we've all heard of that.
A little bit.
Yeah. And so with that, there was a need for some change. And so that change really was putting me into more of a service line position. So I became the AVP, Associate Vice President of Medical Specialties and Behavioral Health. So I did that for about 4.5 years now. And I'm so unbelievably fortunate to come back to the coast and be here in this role. So I'm just excited to be in this new facility, and also you'll get to meet Kirsten later, but to work with Kirsten and to work with Leslie again and in this community. So that's just a little bit about me. Prior to that, I just wanted to share too that I did work for Samaritan in 2009 and 2010.
So you're not new to the corporation?
No, I came back. So I worked here, and I actually worked in Lincoln City. And I had
the old hospital.
In the old hospital, yes, the wooden building, yes. And so I worked there and lived here in Lincoln City, and then left over to Eugene and worked at Peace Health for about 7 years, and came back because my husband and I were sitting at the restaurant, the Thai restaurant, and I could see the hospital being built. And I said to John, I said, I want to work back at Samaritan. And here I am. So
what's your biggest challenge just coming into the position?
The biggest challenge for me would probably be more hospital operations. Most of my background is in clinics and clinician relationships and contracts. So really just learning all the rules and regs that are related to hospitals. But to be honest, and I don't want to sound like I'm, feeling like I'm full of myself, but it's not been as difficult from that perspective as I thought, because it's a team. It's all about a team. And I have wonderful people that will help me, and I can navigate through the system with the relationships that I have. But also going back to financials, there's all this pressure on healthcare right now. The prices of everything, labor included, are increasing, but the reimbursements for the insurances are not. So trying to look at ways that we can be very innovative, think outside the box, and how we can continue the care that we really pride ourselves in, especially here at North Lincoln. Just going to put that plug in there, and making sure that we find ways to deliver that. And I think that's the biggest challenge for me personally right now.
Very good. Jennifer Will, the new Chief Operating Officer for Samaritan North Lincoln Hospital, and the good Dr. Leslie Ogden have been with us on the podcast. We'll take a break and more in a moment.
Northwest Septic Service is your one-stop shop for all your septic needs.
Northwest Septic Service offers pumping, maintenance, repair, and inspections with one call, 541-994-6977.
Buying or selling a home? Northwest Septic Service can inspect your sewer line or an entire septic system.
Old or failing septic system? Northwest Septic Service can rejuvenate most drain fields, saving you thousands of dollars. 541-994-6977.
Serving Lincoln, Tillamook, and Yamhill counties, Northwest Septic Service. And 50 years later, we're back at it again. Chsra, you've got a lot of activities that you're tied into as well, right, Paul?
Right, yeah. So on June 29th is going to be the big celebration there at the Cascade Head Experimental Forest. It's Saturday from 11 to 2. And we're going to have speakers, we're going to have a film, and it's going to be a big event. Get lunch out there as well, so for folks.
I was here when this all began, but it was great to have Frank come on and bring us from the historical perspective to what it is today.
Right, yeah, and we're looking forward to another 50 years.
Another 50 years of helping Mother Earth. And we'd also like to remind you, Touch Your Truck is upcoming June 22 at Curtis Park. And we talked about this last week, 75th birthday celebration for Curtis Park. 75 years for that park.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Older than Lincoln City itself.
The Glen Eden Beach 4th of July Parade, I'm happy to say, is back. This is going to be just a kick. And to get involved in the parade, call Warren Ryland at area code 971-230-8230.
And we're going to have him on next episode, I think. Yeah.
Next episode, he'll be here and talk about the 4th of July Parade out in Glen Eden Beach. It is Americanish at its absolute best.
It is indeed.
Now, we do have a winner to announce, and we had a question that Paul shook his head at because we know it's going to be true because it was on Facebook. And what is the most isolated city in North America?
And what is that most isolated city?
Glasgow, Montana.
And why is that relevant?
It is oh yeah, it's relevant because that's where it came from when we moved here 50 years ago. It was just blew my socks off when I read this about Glasgow, Montana. Town of right now 3,500, 4,000 people up in the northeast corner. And it is 4.5-hour drive from any major metropolitan area.
But it's close to Malta.
But it's close to Malta, 70 miles. And why is Malta important?
Oh, it's just the best place to be born.
And we're not talking about the island. We also got some thank yous.
Yeah, we wanted to give a shout out to all of our Double R Show Donut Club members. We started this program this year, and basically what it is it's like a monthly donation or a one-time donation that you can make to the program. And we have a lot of reoccurring folks that participate. We have a Donut Club member, which is $1 a month, and Georgia Roloff joined at that level. And then we have the old-fashioned donut, which, of course, is your favorite.
Yes.
That $5 a month provided by a number of folks. Our first one, Margarita Ferralis out of San Diego, was our first member.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, and then Shelley Stewart, Andrea Svetsson, David Jameson, Duncan Barry, Hugh Price, and Cheryl Smith-McKee.
Okay.
And then at the top of the list, we have our Baker's Dozen, which, of course, is $13 a month. And Susan Gomberg, Dave Price, Jeannie Sprague, and Keith and Betsy Altimer have all joined at that level. And we just thank everyone for all of their donations. And then there's one other way to donate, too, and that's just to buy just a donut, one-off donut, or 5 donuts, as the case may be.
We'll take it.
And Roger Sprague has given you 5 donuts.
Now, the significance to that is a lot of the money gets contributed back to nonprofits. We pick how.
Yeah, so 20% of the net profits go back to a local nonprofit, and those are all selected by the Baker's Dozen, or nominated by the Baker's Dozens group, and then voted on by the whole membership of the Double R Show Donut Club.
And that can get to be substantial cash.
Well, we hope to. Yeah, I mean we've got so many people that are joined in, and the first time we cut a check, it was to the Lincoln City Friends of Lincoln City Parks and Rec. So that was the first nonprofit that received some funding. And if people are interested in joining the cause here and supporting the program and supporting some nonprofit, just go to our website, doublershow.com, and buy me a donut.
Buy me a donut. And those people will be getting an email from us shortly to make their nominations.
Yeah, we'll get out another set of emails to these folks and pick a new winner for this next batch of funding.
Speaking of winners, did we announce who the winner is who had the right answer for our question as to the most isolated city?
I don't think you did.
I don't think I did either.
Okay, we're moving too fast here.
Sarah Lloyd. Sarah Lloyd wins a gift certificate from Chinook Winds Casino Resort. It's a $30 food outlet gift certificate. It can be used towards in the buffet, in the Rogue River Room, over at the hotel. Lots of different dining venues, but $30, Sarah Lloyd, you will get that shortly. She works for Josh Santillo, a very active member of the Lincoln City Kiwanis Club. Sarah, thank you much. She was surprised as well. She thought it should have been someplace in Alaska, but it turned out to be Glasgow, Montana. Anything else your side of the table?
No, I think we're clear from here. Thank you.
That'll do to the Dunes on the Double R Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share so you, your family, and friends around the world and across the street can join us here on the Double R Show, program number
52.
Have a happy day.
You've been listening to The Double R Show. Join Roger and Paul Robertson as they explore everything about North Lincoln County. The Double R Show, produced by Always Productions and hosted by Roger Robertson. Have a story? Email contact@alwaysproductions.com or call 458-201-3039. For The Double R Show, I'm Jana Grawn.